Greetings and welcome to the 11th and final Abhidhamma class in English in the second cycle, bringing the basic Abhidhamma concepts to you by our esteemed teacher, Bulwala Ratnasiri Thero, the Chief Abbot of Millava Dharma Vijayarama in Kurunagala, Sri Lanka. And the sessions have been hosted to you by Sangakaya Foundation. So it is time to start our final session, and I invite our esteemed teacher to begin the lesson.
Good afternoon. Let's start our Abhidhamma lesson today. We have discussed three ultimate realities: consciousness, mental factor, and matter. Today we have to discuss about Nibbana. You know, all the Abhidhamma paths are there in Sapta Prakarana text. Dhamma Sangani, Vibhanga Sangani, Dhatu Kata, Puggala Panyati, Kata Bhattupakarana, Yamaka, Patthana. And those are the 7 texts in Abhidhamma. All Abhidhamma texts have been included in these 7 textbooks in Prakarana. In this 7 textbook, there are 4 ultimate realities, and also another topic is there called Panyapti. Out of these ultimate realities, we discussed about consciousness, mental factor, and matter. So those 3 ultimate realities, they are conditional things. Nibbana is unconditional, asankata. So Nibbana, some scholars and some followers, and they have misunderstood what is Nibbana. Some scholars says Nibbana is in negative sub, because it deals with the cessation of craving. So it is in negativism, some scholars say. And Nibbana is just like metaphysical conceit. That is the far-reaching of the intelligence of the normal persons. So some scholars and those who find out about Nibbana, they say it's a metaphysical phenomenon. It can't be achieved the normal person. I think you know there was English poet called John Donne. He wrote about poems on love and religion. Some of his poems, they are very difficult to understand. They are far-reaching. So, because of that, some says John Donne is the metaphysical point because his themes can't be easily understood. They are far-reaching. In that sense, some scholars and some persons, they say that Nibbana is a metaphysical phenomena, metaphysical conceits that can't be achieved by the person. Let's consider by referring the Sapta Prakarana text to understand whether there is some metaphysical elements in Nibbana. What is the nature of Nibbana? We'll try to understand by referring the facts in the Sapta Prakarana Dhamma. In Patthana Prakarana, Buddha has explained about Nibbana. Buddha has explained in Patthana Prakarana the 5 aggregates, the circle of birth and Nibbana. 5 aggregates and circle of birth and Nibbana, they are interconnected elements. There are some connections or interdependence. In Patthana Prakarana, it is explained well. On the other hand, in Patthana Prakarana, all the phenomena in the universe or out of the universe, they have 24 energies. They are called pakkaya. Pakkaya means interdependent. It causes to some result. It causes to have some result. So there are 24 pakkayas, means some sort of energies that contains in all phenomena, all Dhamma. They are interdependent. Those 24 pakkayas, causes, energies, they can't survive or exist lonely. It has some power to support or generate the other element. So Nibbana is one of that pathway, energy. It connects with other pathways. There is interconnections. Pathway. In Arambana pathway, objective conditions, we can understand Arambana pathway, it has a energy to generate consciousness in the person. Arambana pathway, it has energy to generate consciousness. Nibbana is one of that Arambana pathway. So Nibbana has some energy. Nibbana is one of that Arambana pathway. Arambana pathway means the energy that can create consciousness in the person's mind. So that is one Arambana. So in that sense, we can say Nibbana is not a metaphysical conceit. Then there is another pathway called Adhipati pathway. Adhipati pathway means they get some priority to generate or act in their work. Adhipati pathway, they suppress the other energies and they act in priority in their actions. For instance, some wholesome consciousness can suppress some unwholesome consciousness. So in that sense, Nibbana is one of the Adhipati pathway that can suppress the wholesome consciousness. It gives priority to wholesome consciousness. It suppresses unwholesome consciousness. That is Adhipati pathway. And there is another Anattara pathway. This Anattara pathway also, it has some to generate and continue some phenomena. After generating a new consciousness and it has power to cease this consciousness. Now, for instance, some consciousness has power or energy to generate new consciousness after its death, after its cessations. It can generate a new consciousness. Can you understand it? there are some consciousness, most of the consciousness. When they ceases, they give some support to generate and continue a new consciousness after its cessations. But the consciousness that connect with Nibbana, it has no that power. That consciousness ceases, but it can't form a new consciousness and continue it. That's why Arahant, when Arahant dies, he can't create a Patisandhi Chitta. He can't create another new continuous consciousness, to continue consciousness. So Nibbana, the consciousness that connect with Nibbana, it has no that power. After cessations, it has no any power to generate a new consciousness. That's why after the death of Arahant, he is not reborn because his last consciousness can't generate and continue a new consciousness after it. So that is the nature of Nibbana. In that way, we can consider about Nibbana is not a negativism, it's not a metaphysical conceit. It is to be understood by the supramundane consciousness. Supramundane consciousness. You know, there are 8 supramundane consciousness. With this 8 supramundane consciousness, Nibbana can be objected. So Nibbana is not a negativism, it's not a metaphysical conceit. There are so many definitions for the Nibbana. Nibbana is the final ultimate reality which has several interpretations. So Nibbana has so many definitions, interpretations. One is cessation of passion, aversion, delusion, and karma. Cessation of passion, that is craving, aversion, anger, and delusion, moha, and karma. So karma, you know, karma is the reason for the rebirth. Karma and rebirth. Nibbana ceases karma. as I have explained earlier, when Arahant dies, his last consciousness, that is come, his last consciousness ceases without forming a new consciousness. So that is the cessation of karma. So Nibbana is the cessation of karma. Due to karma, we circles, we travels in the circle of birth because of karma. Wholesome and unwholesome volitional activities. So Nibbana is the cessation of karma. And Nibbana, there is highest level of knowledge. The highest level of knowledge. It is the realization, understand. So it is the highest level of knowledge, Nibbana. You know, Arahant, suppose Samma Sambuddha, Pacceka Buddha and Arahant. They experiences Nibbana. You know the knowledge that the Buddha had. 72 epitome kind of knowledge that the Buddha had. Arahant, Abhidhamma Nirutti Pratibhana, the knowledge that Arahant have. That means they know every meaning, the essence of everything, every meaning, Atta and Dhamma, every phenomenon. And Nirutti clarifications, they know how to clarify the problems. So they are the highest level of knowledge. It is Nibbana. Then the world transcendence, that is overcome the world, Loka Uttara. The person who overcomes the world, he has attained Nibbana. Transcendence. It transcends the world. No more he is there in the circle of birth. Then unconditional experiences. Unconditional experiences there. Asankata. Unconditional experience you can gain. Conceptual non-proliferations. Non-proliferations. That is, no grasping there. Absolutism, no grasping there. Freedom from conceit as the immortal. Freedom from conceit, no mana, udatta, is free of them, free of conceit, and immortal. No death is there, no problems, freedom, and mind. So when the person attains to Nibbana, there is liberation on wisdom and mind. So there is freedom, liberation. Post-mortem conditions. That is, in Nibbana, there are two kinds or stages, varieties, Anupadisesa Nibbana and Saupadisesa Nibbana. Saupadisesa Nibbana is in the normal person, he attains to Nibbana by following the middle pathway, Sila, Samadhi, Panya. He developed morality, concentration, and wisdom. Then he attained Soan, Sakurdagami, Anagami, Arihat. As Arihat, he lives. So he experiences Nibbana there. It is Saupadisesa Nibbana, that these five aggregates is there. He experiences his Nibbana with his five aggregates. Now, you know, Buddha attained the Buddhahood. That is Saupadisesa Nibbana. With his five aggregates, he following the middle pathway and leaving two extremes, and with the power of his perfect sense in samsara as Bosat, he attained Nibbana, and as a Buddha, as Arahant, he preached Dhamma, he delivered Dhamma, he taught his disciples, he rescued so many victims. That is the experience of Saupadisesa Nibbana. After 45 years, he experiences his Saupadisesa Nibbana. Then, at the age of 80, in Kusinara city, in Sala Orchard, Buddha passed away or entered Parinibbana. That is called Anupadisesa Nibbana. That is the post-mortem condition of Nibbana. Buddha passed away and he attained because his karma ceased. He ceased karma, and his last consciousness did not create a new consciousness to be continued, his birth. He ceased karma and he entered Anupadisesa Nibbana, that is post-mortem condition. So this is the nature of Nibbana. Nibbana is known as Sunyata. Sunyata means absolutism. It means it is devoid of a craving. It is devoid of delusion. It is devoid of conceit. It is devoid of death, sickness, pain, suffering. So it is called Sunyata. Nibbana is called Sunyata. And Nibbana is known as Animitta. There is no objectives to be grasped. There is no objects to be grasped in Nibbana, Animitta. No anything to grasp or generate craving or delusion or anything. No anything is there to grasping, that is Animitta. And no birth, no tradition there, no companions there. And Nibbana is known as Appanihita. That is, it can't be compared to other things. That is the nature of Nibbana. So, in four ultimate realities, in the ultimate reality of Nibbana, Buddha has explained the nature of Nibbana in Vibhanga Sangani. There is a section called Satya, and there are descriptions about Four Noble Truth, Dukkha, Samudaya, Nirodha, Marga. In this prakarana, Buddha has explained in Nirodha Satya, Nibbana is that yo tassa eva asesa viraga nirodho tyago patinissaggo mutti anagyo. Nibbana is extinctions of craving, eradication of craving, and tyago. There is no again craving, greed there, tyago. Patinissaggo, no grasping, no addictions. That is the Nibbana. In Patthana, in Vibhanga Sangani, in Satya Patthana, there are Satya sections there, it has been described. Eradication of craving. And another idea of Nibbana is where the craving is generated, the place where the craving is generated on the spot, that craving must be eradicated. That is Nibbana. Then in Vibhanga Prakarana, the Buddha has pointed out the places where the craving may be arised. One place is the object. Now, think of the objects outside. Rupa, figure, formation, rupa, sabda, sound, gandha, fragrance, rasa, taste, tangible object, sparsa. Now think of those objects. Objects are the places where a craving must be generated. Craving may be generated in some person. Suppose one young one, he sees a beautiful young girl. He looks at a beautiful young girl. Then, because of that object, there arise craving, greed in the young boy's mind. Well, that is the place. The Nibbana is what? On the spot. That craving must be eradicated. Such skill must be there in that person. So Arahant has that skill. The normal person, they does not have that skill. Object is the place there at that time. There arise the craving, the greed, but on the spot it suppressed, eradicate. So no craving there. If there is no craving, there is no grasping, then if there is no grasping, there is no becoming. If there is no becoming, there is no being. If there is no being, there is no decayed suffering and so on. So in that Vibhanga Prakarana, it explained the places where craving generates on the spot, that craving must be eradicated. That is Nibbana. Now think of when a person look at an beautiful object, but he does not create craving there because his attention may be somewhere there. It does not create. Then that object comes to the doors of the eye. Then the doors, when the object contact with the doors of the eye, there may be arise craving. Then that craving must be eradicated, she says at once. Suppose that craving arises in eye consciousness, sometime on the object or on the door of the eye. Craving was not generated under some circumstances. But in eye consciousness, there is consciousness, there is craving. Then what that person must do, he must eradicate craving. It is Nibbana, that is the nature of Nibbana. How the person responds to Araman outside. How the person responds to Araman. Araman, it has energy, I told you, it has energy to create consciousness in the person's mind. When it creates, at the same time it suppresses the Arahant. Eradicate craving there. So that is Nibbana. If we consider of ear, it is also same. Sound, if you hear pleasant sound, you create craving there, breathe there. But if there is no craving in sound, sometimes the craving may arise in doors of ear or ear consciousness. So in that case, if you are skillful, if you are clever enough to eradicate craving, that is Nibbana. So Arahant has that skill, but normal person like us, we don't have that skill. So that is the Nibbana, how that Vibhanga Sangani explain it. In Dhamma Sangani also, Nibbana has explained by supramundane consciousness. You know there are 8 supramundane consciousness. Sotapatti Magga, Sotapatti Pala, Sakuddagami Magga Pala, Anagami Magga Pala, Ariyat Magga Pala. 8 consciousness, supramundane consciousness there. They connect with Nibbana. Nibbana can be objected to those 8 supramundane consciousness. In that way, the Buddha has explained the nature of Nibbana. I told you there are 2 kinds of Nibbana, Saupadisesa Nibbana and Anupadisesa Nibbana. Saupadisesa Nibbana means a normal person, he practice the middle pathway he practiced his morality, concentration, and wisdom. Then he developed his 7 enlightenment factors, Sapta Bojjhangadam, in Magga Satya. Buddha has explained when he followed the Magga, he developed the 7 enlightenment factors, Sapta Bojjhanga Dhamma. Those are the qualities of the good qualities of Arahant or Nibbana. He developed those seven factors of enlightenment. Sapta Buddhanga Dharma. Then he developed his Vipassana meditation after having concentration. On that concentration, he developed his Vipassana wisdom, Vipassana Bhavana. That is, he investigated all phenomena in the light of Tilakkhana, Anitya, Dukkha, Anatta, impermanence, Anitya, Dukkha, unsatisfactory, Anatma, non-soul. He investigates every phenomena in the light of Tilakkhana and understand the nature of phenomena. Nature of phenomena he understands and he developed his panya, the wisdom, to attain Nibbana. The first state is known as Sowan. When he entered to Sowan, he eradicates, he ceases 3 fetters. Those are the defilements that bind the being in the circle of birth. There are 10 fetters which keep the person in the circle of birth. Those fetters are there in his mind. So, non-arahant Putujjana persons, they have 10 fetters in their mind. Because of that, they travel in the circle of birth. To cease or to stop this traveling in the circle of birth, you have to break those fetters, those 10 fetters. By breaking those 10 fetters, you are released out of the world. You are released from the world. So there are 4 stages in breaking those 10 fetters. These 10 fetters are known as Dasa Sanyojana Dhamma. When the person enters into Sovan, he eradicates or abolishes 3 fetters called Sakkaya Ditti, Vichikiච්ඡa, Silabbata, Paramas. Sakkaya Ditti means, in one sense, it is wrong views, wrong understanding, especially eternalism and nihilism, Sāsvatavāda, Uccedavāda. That is Sakkaya Ditti. If the person believes in eternalism, he developed his egoism. He developed selfishness, egoism. So Sakkaya Ditti, that is eternalism and nihilism, or the wrong views. There are 62 wrong views in Brahmajala Sutta. It is explained. There are 62 wrong views. So Sakkaya Ditti, when the person abolishes this Sakkaya Ditti, that fetter, it means he understands the reality. Right understanding is there. Samma Ditti, right understanding is there. So when person abolished Sakkaya Ditti, then Vichikiච්ඡa, that is skepticism in Buddha and the other 8 places, Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. He has doubts. He suspects Buddha, his Dhamma, and Sangha, and his former birth, and next birth, rebirth, and both former and next birth. And also, he suspects Tisiksa, Sila Samadhi Panna, the middle pathway towards Nibbana. He suspects, he has doubt. In Maha Tanna Sankhya Sutta, there is a bhikkhu called Sati. Sati has doubt about consciousness, the doctrine of Buddha. So there are some persons, they suspect the Buddha's doctrine and Sangha and former birth and so on. Vichikiච්ඡa means that doubt, suspension, we have to abolish that to attain so on. After attaining so on, the person does not have such doubts, no any doubt. Then Silabbata Paramasa, that is, they believe in other practices to attain Nibbana. Now you know 5 ascetics. they believe in self-mortification to attain Nibbana. The Buddha refused it, and when Buddha began to practice middle pathway, they fell out and they went away to Benares, Varanasi. So some person, they believe in wrong practices to attain Nibbana. Abolish. When the person enters Sohan, he abolishes those concepts. So, Sakkaya Ditti, Vichikitta, Silabbata, Paramas. Then the Sapurdhavan state. When the person enters into the Sapurdhavan state, he abolished two fetters in halfway round, not completely, in halfway round, that is called Kamaraga Patiga. Kamaraga, to having desire to sensuous pleasure, Kamaraga. And Patiga is anger, aversion, Patiga. It abolishes halfway round, not completely. When person enters into Sapurdhavan state, so he has abolished first three fetters, Sakkaya Ditti Vichikitta Silabbata Paramasa, and Kamaraga Patiga in halfway round. And now, Visakha and other lay disciples of the Buddha, after attaining Sohan, they led the marriage life because they have Kamaraga and Patiga. When they enter into the Sakurdhavan state, halfway rounds they are abolished. Then Anagami state. When the person comes to the Anagami state, what happens? Kamaraga and Patiga, they are completely abolished, completely eradicated. Kamaraga and Patiga. That is Anagami. The person who enter into Anagami state, if he dies in the Anagami state, he will be born in Suddhavasa and it's a Brahmaloka and he attains Nibbana there, Anaga. Then the last final stage is Arahant. When the person enter into the Arahantships, he abolishes other five fetters completely. So already he has abolished 10 fetters. Ruparaga, Aruparaga, Man, Uddat, Avidya. Those are the other five fetters. Ruparaga, Aruparaga means sometimes they have desire to be born in the Brahmaloka and Rupa Brahmaloka, sense sphere universe. In that way, immaterial spheres, sometimes they may have desire to be born there. So, Ruparag, Aruparag. So they abolish. They don't have such desire to be born in such Brahmaloka. And Mana is conceit. Conceit is a very polite person, no conceit in his mind. Man and Uddatta. Uddatta is no calamity or no complicated mind. He has no complex mind or complicated mind. Uddatta. There is calm, still, a peaceful mind he has, because he has no anger, aversion, repentance to arise to that there. And avidya means ignorance of the Four Noble Truths. Avidya. Ignorance of Four Noble Truths. Dukkha, Samudaya, Nirodha, Marga. When the normal person, enters into arahanships, he understand the Four Noble Truths. Avidya. He has abolished avidya, so he knows Four Noble Truth, and the important thing is he has ceased karma. He has ceased karma because according to the Paticca Samuppada, dependent origination, avidya patya sankara. Because of the ignorance of Four Noble Truth, that is the normal person, Puthajjana person. So Puthajjana persons, when he does wholesome and unwholesome activities, it become volitional actions, become sankara, mental formation, come. Avidya patya sankara. Because of ignorance of Four Noble Truth, there arise sankara, that is karma, the power of karma. In Arahant, there is no avidya, so there is no sankara, no karma, cessation of karma. Karma has been ceased by him, so no rebirth of Arahant. That is the nature of arahantships. Arahant, after attaining arahantships, he lives in the society. He delivers Dhamma, he do some service to the society. That means he experiences his Saupadisesa Nibbana. That means, in other sense, he experiences Nibbana. So Nibbana is not a negative sense. It's a living experience, Nibbana. The Arahant, they live in the society, they move in the society. They do some service to the society. So, Nibbana is not a negativism, it's not a metaphysical conceit, it is reality. It must be understood by supra-mundane consciousness. I think the time is up now. Let me stop my lesson with this. Thank you very much for you listening to me. Blessing of the effulgence be showered upon you.
Much merit to you, Reverend Sir, and much merit to our Dhamma listeners. If there are any questions, now is a good time to ask before we wrap up our session. We do not have any questions on the Google form. There was one. Oh, yeah, let me. Listeners, Dhamma listeners are able to unmute themselves.
Teruvan Saranai.
Bhante, I would like to ask, what is the last consciousness of Arahant? I had, there's a special name called Charimukha Chitta. This Shruti Chitta, is it right, Bhante?
Yeah, Charimukha Chitta. Now the last consciousness there arise when the Arahant dies. His Shruti Chitta arises there, but his Shruti Chitta does not have power to or energy to create another consciousness after that, to continue. The normal persons, the Pruthakjanas, they have that energy, ability, but the Arahant does not have. So, Parimukha Chitta is right now. He ends it and he does not leave any energy to form other consciousness to continue.
Yes, thank you, Bhante. Also, there is a word you said, fetters.
Fetters.
Will you say some?
Yes, fetters means sanyodana. Dasa sanyodana in Pali term, 10 fetters in English term. Fetter is like some strings, fetters. The person bind into the world.
Bondages.
Yes, bond,
Otherwise.
like bond, 10 bonds.
Yes, yes. So thank you very much, very Reverend Bante Buluala Ratana Siritero. I appreciate his talent and actually being a teacher, he's very clearly explained. It's very difficult to explain Abhidhamma.
Yeah.
Abhi means a little bit deeper.
Mm.
So he did a nice role in this full course, as well as I would give my heartiest thanks to Miss Nirasha, Sri Lanka, Colombo. You may attain Nibbana in this very life. All the Dhamma listeners, you also may attain great Nibbana in the merits by all together done by in this course. You may attain great Nibbana. Again, thank you so much, Bhante and Ms. Nirasha.
Okay, so we are ready to conclude our 11th and final Abhidhamma class for beginners in English. And in the next session or the next cycle of Abhidhamma classes, we will dwell into deeper Abhidhamma topics, so advanced Abhidhamma topics. So it will not be for beginners, and we will start this new cycle of advanced Abhidhamma topics from next Saturday. So thank you very much, Mary, to everybody listening, either through Zoom or later on through the YouTube live stream. And until then, we wish everybody a safe and happy week. Thank you very much, Mary. I will close the session now, Reverend Sir.
Yes, it's all right now.